we will respond to you. So just like you were talking a few minutes ago about working from home and people being at home a lot lately, especially with most countries still locked down and people still in quarantine. So, I mean, this is June already. Amazing how time has gone by so fast. And it was January and we were screaming Happy New Year. And all of a sudden it's the month of June. And a lot of people have actually not realized just how far gone the year has gone.
Exactly.
And yeah, and it's amazing how much time we have in quote wasted. So people who are working initially when the coronavirus situation started and everyone thought they were going to be on quarantine and they thought they were going to be bored. They were not going to have anything to do. They were just going to have so much time in their hands. But it's amazing to see how work quickly adjusted to not being done from the office to being done from the house. And then your kids suddenly are all over the place, and especially for those who are married and those who are single, spend more time on the internet just surfing things that are not important. And so if you spend 1 hour on the internet being on Instagram or Facebook, there are courses online that could actually take just 30 minutes. And then here we are today in June 2020, and with 6 months and 2 weeks roughly to go in 2020, and a lot of people are just beginning to realize that they've actually not made any use of this year. I don't think it's on the coronavirus. What do you think?
Well, I think it's a mix of it. And I think COVID-19 caught us by surprise. And I've been hearing it, and of course, ourselves, we're probably the same generation, but they've always said this, and majority is saying they've never seen something like this before. And it's completely putting up us, like, you know, we're caught off guard by this. All everyone is actually surprised to this. So I think it's a mix of a lot of things, and us being human, plus the technology.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of elements there. What I also noticed, like myself personally, I'm working from home and I have my child at home and even my partner's at home. So we actually try to plan our time to make sure we make use of it. At the start, it was like, okay, we're quite unfamiliar what we're going to do next. But as soon as we move into that space of working from home and we're all at home, locked down, then it's of being conscious now to be productive with our time. So we're really trying to make sure, okay, let's be productive, because there was one instance where we get up even at 11 and then suddenly the whole morning is gone. Then afternoon, you're fighting this and this, and then, you know, you're trying to struggle and fighting time, basically.
It's amazing to
see.
You
realize today is gone, and then the next day, and then all of a sudden the week is just flying very fast. But that was the agenda here. And I believe, change manager myself, it's always a process where at the start you'll find people who are resistant to change, and we're going to deep dive into that reaction where, no, I don't want this, I don't like this, it doesn't feel right to me, I'm upset, I'm feeling lonely and isolated, bored, whatever negative emotion, you name it, because that's the first stage of change. You'll get that very common reaction. So it's not one person, it's very common to everybody. We react differently, but there's some quite common theme and reactions to change. So this is a change to us, and it's really a shock to our system and to everybody, right? At the start, we were panicking. A lot of like the shopping thing. Just everybody's panicking, going to the shop and trying to hoard as much as they can. And I remember that first couple of days where people were buying but tissues, like toilet rolls.
In tons. Unbelievable.
Everybody is just panicking, and if they hear something like this from the other side of the world, they think it will also happen, and so everybody goes that way. And to make sure, like, of course, to feel secure and safe while they're alone or on their from home. So I think it's a lot of elements around it. And then we go through slowly the adjustment period. For those who are still at that point at the moment, we're struggling where they are and quite confused what to do, under bored, or probably feeling too much already about overwhelm. It's normal. It's really normal, because it's a different level of change. So for those who have already adjusted, probably have made use of their time right now and realize, oh my goodness, I have so much to do. But those who are still in that phase where they're thinking, oh, what is going on really, and still not understanding, that's normal as well. It's just the phases of change really that we're facing at the moment.
I totally agree. And the thing is, it also actually might take people a lot longer than 2020 to adjust to the change.
Exactly.
So, because everyone does adjust to change at their own pace and time. So it might happen for some people in the twinkling of an eye. So there is the pandemic, the country is on lockdown. There is no, okay, maybe they're out of jobs or they have to work from home, and then they adjust ASAP to that system. But there are other people who would require time, right? They've not been around their kids for so long, all day long, just, not doing anything, being disturbed and distracted by their kids. There are people who cannot focus except they're like in an alone space. So maybe what we can also recommend things that can help people adjust and help them make the adjustment just a little bit quicker, because it's I saw a post on, I think, Instagram, where someone said that on their CV 2020 is going to be blank. And when the employer asked them what they were doing in 2020, they're going to say they were at home. So that's one way to look at it from the job perspective. There is also the other personal development part to look at it. So what did you do? What did you do with your time, right? Because if a lot of people, if we don't try to help and we allow the gap go on so long, and then we're done with 2020, a lot of people will stand and actually find out that they had so much time with their hands, but they just could not manage it enough to actually be able to spare some time to be productive for themselves, for their mind, for their soul, for their peace of heart, and being so that instead of complaining about the situation and about the state of things in the economy and in jobs, this was actually what they did to get themselves. So from the perspective of change management, what would you recommend, right, that people who are a little bit slow to adjusting to, like someone just said on the comments, people who are a little bit slow to adjusting to opportunities that arise from miserable and bad times and non-normal times. So what can people do from the perspective of a change management professional?
I think there's really a lot of options, and for me it will start with mindset. Depends on where you are with your mindset right now. So it's really important. I feel that it's very important. I know you could be alone right now wherever you are because you're locked down and you're probably on your own. It depends who you're watching at the moment. But my recommendation and my suggestion that works best for me is be on your own and enjoy that moment on your own, but also have that positive conversation with yourself. But at the same time, checked in. Okay, we always have this thing in change management or in project management. Before we can implement a project, we try to analyze and understand what's. So enjoy this time that you are being on your own, and you have the time to reflect. So I call it a reflection moment. Reflect that moment and check in with yourself. Where are you right now? I think that it's very important that we all checked in with ourselves. We checked in on others. We asked, how are you, Lohi? And we asked our friends, how are you doing, and everything. But have we checked in with ourselves? Have we even checked ourselves? How are we?
Very true.
Yeah. If people are asking that question to us, it could be just because it's a form of greetings.
Mm-hmm.
Ask that sincerely to ourselves and
Mm-hmm.
really give that question.
Mm-hmm.
I did ask myself for that. And how am I? And where am I right now? In this
Mm-hmm.
pandemic, where am I? And I'm the only one who can answer that question. And you're as well. So check in with yourself. If
Mm-hmm.
nobody will check in with yourself, who else will? That would be. So check in with yourself. How are you? Where are you right now? And when I ask that question, where are you right now? It's actually in terms of your dreams,
Yep.
your goals, your ambitions, your objectives, or even simple things, your hobby. Have you
Mm-hmm.
have you actually missed that part where you're probably doing knitting or whatever hobby you'd had before that you've completely forgotten because you're so busy?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe checked in with yourself. How are you in terms of your relationship to your family? Now
Mm-hmm.
you have the time to evaluate. I
Mm-hmm.
believe that this space of time is actually the best time to reflect.
Yeah.
When you know the answers to those questions, things will just be flying off very quickly. Yeah.
True. Very true. This is key. And I think a major takeaway from today's talk would be for people to spend more time with themselves, as in actually pay attention to yourself. Check in with yourself. What did you plan to do in 2020? Would you have been able to do it with or without coronavirus? How can you adjust to the new normal? Like, how can you get your dreams going? How can you refocus your mind to see the opportunities, right, that are here in the season? Because every situation does come with its own opportunities. Thanks so much, Rhealyn. This is amazing, and I hope everyone takes this away today. And just before we call it a quick end of the session, so I was just wondering, so we decided to do a small partnership with Rhealyn Institute. The Strong Woman Initiative is partnering with Rhealyn Institute. And just before we go into the nitty-gritties of the partnership, I want you to tell us about Rhealyn, about what Rhealyn is about and what Rhealyn does, the goal, the aim, and what it's about.
Yeah, Rhealyn Institute is really a basis of well-being. And at the moment in this pandemic, what we really wanted to do is to help especially busy people in times of this pandemic to find their inner strength, to really find that clarity, right? And in order for them to really go for their goals, any goals, lost dreams that they have. And what we're really aiming for to really help people to build that creativity and resilience themselves. This is done through our virtual live training, which will happen soon in July, and at the same time with our learning plan that we created. And on top of that is a coaching session. This is really to empower people. I've read couple of questions there. If you've lost your job, how are you going to find your footing, and what support can we help you? Coaching is actually a very powerful intervention in this. It's really to find and discover your best self yet, like what happened to you at this time. So that's what we also offer with Rhealyn Institute. And so to start with, we are actually giving away these virtual training programs to our partners such as yourself. But of course, it's a very limited availability because we have really that quality training to develop the strength as human, especially in this pandemic. So we have this resilience and training. We provide emotional intelligence training, and at the same time we provide critical thinking, creativity training, understanding change, and most importantly, we provide a training dealing with redundancy if you've lost your job. So that's really, we go through nitty-gritty. It's normally going once a week training for an hour and a half, and it runs through a 4-week program.
Perfect. This is so cool. It totally aligns with the dreams and visions of the Strong Woman Initiative, which makes it a very, very awesome partnership with Rhealyn, really. So what we're going to do for everyone who's watching and everyone who will watch this video afterwards, so Rhealyn is actually offering 10 guaranteed spots for the the Strong Woman Initiative. So it's a metered slot, and we will put a structure together to actually see the people who are, well, whose goals are shaped enough to actually maximize, because we want value. So everybody who's going to be on this training course, we expect them to be able to have value enough and then to use them to get better. So we would like, if you're interested in this, please send your name and your details to